Welcome back to another episode of Wild Kitchen presented by Moultrie Mobile. Today, we're making a great hunting camp meal. Whether you pair it with eggs for breakfast or mashed potatoes for dinner, this is country fried venison, or as some of you may know it, chicken fried venison. Making this recipe is actually fairly simple and it comes together in just a few steps. To start, we'll need about a pound of venison, whether it's a top round, a sirloin, or a cut from the backstrap. We'll take that cut and cut it into 1-inch thick cutlets, just like I'm doing here. Then we'll pound each cutlet into 1/4 inch thick pieces using the tenderizing side of a meat mallet. After we tenderize each of the cutlets, we can move on to our buttermilk egg wash. We'll just take 1 egg and mix it with a cup of buttermilk. Then we can set each of the cutlets into the mixture, making sure that they are all fully submerged. Once we've added all of our cutlets, we can top off our bowl with additional buttermilk if needed so that all of our cutlets are well coated. Then we can set that aside as we prepare our flour mixture. We'll need 1 cup of all-purpose flour, a 1/3 cup of cornstarch. Then we'll add in our seasonings. We'll need a teaspoon of smoked paprika, a teaspoon of onion powder, a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of black pepper, and a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. We'll mix that together until the seasonings are evenly distributed. Then we can take our cutlets one at a time from the buttermilk mixture, dredge them into the flour mixture until they're well coated, then dip them back into the buttermilk mixture and back into the flour once more. We'll repeat this process with each of our cutlets and set them aside to a wire rack as we coat them. Before we do that, it is important to shake off the excess flour during the last dredging. Once we've coated all of our venison steaks, we're ready to fry them. I'm going to fry mine in a large cast iron skillet with about 1 inch of peanut oil that's heated to 350 degrees. We'll fry the cutlets in batches until they're golden brown on both sides, flipping halfway. As they finish cooking, we will set them onto a baking sheet. Once we finish frying all of the cutlets to that beautiful brown color, we can place the baking sheet into an oven preheated to the lowest temperature to keep them warm as we prepare our homemade white gravy. The secret to a delicious homemade gravy is reserving some of the drippings from the pan that we fried the cutlets in. Once you reserve 2 tablespoons worth, you can discard the rest of the oil so we can start fresh. Then we'll take our skillet and put it back over medium heat and add in 2 tablespoons of butter and the 2 tablespoons of the reserved drippings. Once the butter has melted, we can add 4 tablespoons of all-purpose flour over top of our butter and oil mixture. Then we'll take a whisk and stir the flour to create a roux. We'll continue stirring our flour mixture until the flour has completely mixed in. We'll whisk our roux constantly for about 20 to 30 seconds, and then we can start slowly adding in our liquids. We'll start with about a cup of chicken broth, and as you can see here, I'm adding it in small increments and whisking it as I go. This will help keep our gravy nice and thick. After we finished adding in our cup of chicken broth, we can move on to adding our 1.5 cups of whole milk. We'll do the same process of adding it in slow increments to keep a nice thick gravy. Once we've added all of our milk, all that's left to do is add our seasonings. We're going to need a teaspoon of onion powder, a teaspoon of garlic powder, a 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, and a little bit of salt. You can taste the gravy and adjust the seasonings to be how you like. Then I'm just going to reduce the heat to low and let it keep thickening up as I prepare the eggs since we're going to be serving this for breakfast. The beauty of this recipe is that the country fried venison goes great for breakfast or for dinner, whether you serve it with eggs like I did here or over mashed potatoes. The gravy is just delicious, and if you make it for your friends, especially at a hunting camp, they're going to be asking for it season after season because it is the best comfort meal to come back to after a long day in the tree stand. Be sure to hit the subscribe button to subscribe to Moultrie Mobile on YouTube so that you're staying up to date with our monthly wild game recipes. Enjoy!